Welcome back. And yes, it appears XRP is becoming money. We're going to be talking about that in today's video, along with billionaires are buying cryptocurrency. Guys, there is a lot happening in the crypto space. So make sure you guys are subscribed, hit that thumbs up button. That way you never miss a new video. And we're going to start right here. Now, we have a lot to talk about. We are also going to be talking about yield max ETFs. If you've been following my channel for a while, we did talk about yield max ETFs last year. And this is a very interesting product with very high yield ETFs that use basically option income by selling options onto the market that are covered. And yeah, there's some more findings that we kind of didn't have last year because a lot of these products were new, and YieldMax has launched, I mean, a plethora of these ETFs with very higher yields compared to the average ETF is 7% a year on average. And these are 7% a month, some of them. But there are risks involved there. But before we go there, let's kind of talk a little bit about the Arthur Hayes market indicator. XRP is money. Fund managers around the world are choosing Bitcoin. And yeah, this is kind of what we've been talking about, right? Quarterly US filings show that fund managers have boosted their exposure to Bitcoin ETFs. There's a lot of discussion about the possible implementation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve, but personally, I don't necessarily know that the Bitcoin reserve is the way that we're going to see some of these states and countries moving forward with buying into cryptocurrency. I don't think that they're going to be following the strategy, right? I think they're going to start buying these ETFs. And we've talked about that before. The banks are already involved, right? Fidelity already has crypto trading for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin on their app and website. And basically, it's 24-hour trading. This is the only major financial institution currently in the United States that is doing this. But again, they've been involved in crypto since like 2014. I think they were mining Bitcoin in their in some of their offices. Now they have a whole crypto division. So you can look into this, and I'm not sure if you can like put the crypto in an IRA with Fidelity at this point. But again, if you have an IRA account or a non-Fidelity account, and a lot of people do, right? They have Charles Schwab, JP Morgan, Robinhood, some of the other online platforms as well. And they can't buy crypto. So what are they going to do? They're going to buy into these crypto ETFs. So we're going to kind of come back to this in just a minute about the fund managers and these other very wealthy individuals or funds or countries that are getting into crypto. We're going to come back to that in just a few minutes. But before we go there, XRP is money. Now, if you've been following my channel for quite a while, you'll know back when the SEC, back I think it was 2019 and 2020, the SEC sued Ripple and said that XRP is a security. And we didn't know where any of this was going. So personally, I basically sold most of my XRP and most of my Stellar because I believe Stellar was going to be in the same kind of situation. Now that XRP is kind of almost cleared and we are seeing Ripple, launching their own stable coin as well, this is really, really good for XRP. Number one, the initial jump that we have just seen in XRP end of 2024 into 2025, I mean, this was a major move. This was down from 50 cents, 45 cents, all the way up to $2.75, right? So remember, my kind of theory is that the bull market is halfway over. We've already gone 5x. But I want you guys to remember that if you pull this back, right, this timeline back to when they got sued by the SEC, there's been almost no movement in the price. I mean, look at this. They got sued, I think, in the end of 2019. So right over here, it was at 19, 20 cents. They basically missed, right? It did go higher. It went to what? Less than $2, right? So from 20 cents to $2, almost to 10x, while they were being sued, right? And a lot of that, I think, was just anticipation that they were going to win the lawsuit. But then it came straight back down, and it's been basically sideways trading for the last 4 years. So this initial jump that we see here may not have been a jump from this cycle. This may have been a correction from the previous cycle, right? Because you can see the jump happened right before the election or right during the election. And so the ecosystem and the financial ecosystem understanding that if the new administration was going to be crypto friendly, which they are, that would probably resolve a lot of the issues for Ripple with this whole XRP situation. And this is exactly what we've seen going on. And this is why I say that XRP is becoming money. I mean, essentially, the people in the XRP ecosystem who've been owning XRP and supporters of Ripple for many years, they've all been saying all of this. Like everything that has occurred with XRP and Ripple so far is basically what the community has been saying that Ripple is going to do, whether the other financial institutions like it or not. And they have been really on point with this. It's very, very odd. This is the only project that the community kind of driven narrative about what XRP and Ripple are doing, they have, it has come to fruition. This is exactly what they're doing. And they just announced the launching of their stable coin, and the stable coin is approved already in the state of New York. This is one of only a few different stable coins. It's very, very hard, number one, to get a bit license, but number two, to get these coins approved in the state of New York, especially stable coins, because they have to be backed and they have to be, they have to have real money behind them. This is huge for Ripple and XRP, but there is still one major issue that a lot of people are not talking about with XRP. And so this kind of goes into where we are here, right? Remember what I keep telling my viewers: Wall Street is in control, and they're trying to control all of these markets, right? So Polymarket is now saying that the XRP ETF approval odds are 81%. I mean, personally, I think it's like close to 100%. Whether they approve it in 3 months, 5 months, 10 months, 2 years, it's going to be approved. But here's the deal, guys. The people holding XRP, in my view, are looking at this ETF as the golden ticket, I guess, to significantly higher pricing. And keep in mind, many people if you've been holding since before the lawsuit, it's basically 19 cents, 20 cents, right? And even some people have been holding before that, right? The original OGs have been holding from under 1 penny. So already they've made significant returns if they've been holding for that long. And I would imagine many of the OGs were. And so if we go even higher, it's going to be unbelievable. But I'm talking about most of the people who bought in like the 20 to 50 cent range over the last 4 years. These type of people believe that this is going to be like the golden ticket, like, oh, this is going to pump the price of XRP. But remember that if Wall Street is buying XRP or whatever cryptocurrency, right, for their ETFs, they have to be buying it from someone. And who are they going to be buying it from? Well, one of the things that is still not really openly discussed within the XRP ecosystem is the escrow account, because Ripple still owns and controls a significant portion of the actual XRP supply. Here on XRP Scan, you can actually see that currently in escrow in February 2025, when I'm recording this video, they have 37 billion coins still in escrow. And so they have about 37% of the entire supply of XRP. Why is this an issue? Well, the issue is every single, I think every month or it's on a different schedule that XRP gets locked. It says the total XRP, this was in December. In January, basically 1 billion XRP tokens were released. I think it talks about the unlocking process will mark the final release of escrow from 2 Ripple-controlled wallets, known as Ripple 24 and Ripple 25. These escrows were initially locked in December 2020 and January 2021, respectively. So the first one is responsible for unlocking 200 million and 300 million XRP, and the other wallet is responsible for unlocking 500 million. But I believe that it's like every single month the coins get released. It says Ripple's escrow mechanism was introduced in 2017, locking 55 billion XRP into a series of escrows containing 1 billion tokens set to release monthly. The system was designed to provide confidence to the market by preventing sudden large-scale releases of XRP. But the issue here is that who's buying the XRP? Who has been buying the XRP? I think that part of the reason that we've seen so much suppression in the price of XRP is because of these escrow unlocks. Now, keep in mind, Ripple doesn't necessarily sell all 1 billion every single month. You can see that based on in in 2017 they had 55 billion, and now they have 37 billion. So they've significantly reduced the portion that they have, but a lot of that money has been used for development and expansion of their ecosystem, and I would imagine significant legal fees that they've been paying fighting the SEC. So they still have a large portion, and this is not typically something that we see with a lot of the quote unquote decentralized protocols like Bitcoin and Ethereum. You don't see large quantities still being held by one entity. And so, how that is all going to play out, I don't know. Or is Ripple going to sell? Let's say the ETFs, let's say 3 or 5 ETFs get approved for XRP. Does that mean that they're going to get their liquidity from Ripple themselves through private placement? This could be part of the situation. And again, this is just money changing hands, going from investors straight to Ripple, if that's what they do. We haven't really heard that much about it, so I don't know where that's going to land, but it is something to think about if you're a holder, because if they are going to be selling some of their coins that are unlocked from escrow into the ETF, this is not going to push the price up on the ETF. But again, this doesn't change the fact that, in my view, XRP is actually becoming money. And now that they're going to have the real, I think it's called RLUSD, Ripple's USD stablecoin that's approved pretty much across the U.S. And we know that the Ripple team has had meetings with the administration. This could be very, very positive over the longer term for XRP. And so when we're talking about the price predictions and kind of where we see things going, again, this initial pump that we've seen could have just been a corrective phase for all of the suppression that has occurred since Ripple was sued by the SEC. It could definitely be part of that. Same thing that we saw with Solana. While I do think that Solana went up significantly higher than many of the other, well, it did. It's not that I think, it did go up significantly higher than many of the other coins in the top 20, top 50. Solana also had significant price suppression during the last bear market after FTX collapsed, because people didn't really trust, right? When the FTX collapse occurred, I mean, Solana was very connected to FTX. So I think a lot of it was excessive drain on the Solana price, and the movements to the upside that we've seen may have just been a corrective phase for Solana recorrecting itself to where it should be after the whole FTX debacle. So something to think about, but I do want to hear what you guys think. I see that there's a lot of people who are supporting XRP and Ripple and believe this is going to be changing the world. I don't know. I mean, again, how much higher is XRP going to go already, right? It's a $159 billion market cap based on a few ETF issuers, right? And again, if the ETF issuers, let's say, they follow what we've kind of identified as like the ETFs basically have about 1/10 of 1% of the market cap of cryptos on average. If you look at the big ones, so 1% of 159, let's just do the math. 10% would be 15 billion. 1% would be 1.5 billion. So 159 million would be 1/10 of 1%. So $159 million. $159 million. Let's do the math. 159 million, and if we divide that by or multiply that by $2.76, it's $438 million, right? And or million coins, I should say. I mean, this alone could just be one escrow unlock from Ripple, and they can fulfill that order, and it would have basically no impact on the price, because the price wouldn't be on the open order books. It would be private placement, most likely. So just something to think about. I'm not saying that's exactly how it's going to happen, but it could. But the more integrations that Ripple brings to the XRP ledger, and using whatever they're calling it, on-demand liquidity, XRapid, basically making sure that the XRP or the Ripple net is also using the XRP coin, because that's going to provide incentives. It's going to be provide transaction fees. It's going to provide throughput on the network, showing that the network can actually handle it. And these things are extremely, extremely important. Anyway, that brings us to kind of Arthur Hayes, his discussion. Now, if you follow my video the other day, we talked about the whole GameStop saga that's going on right now. The fact that Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy is talking about this meme S coin. The Haktua girl came back and apologized for dumping on her. Listen, guys, Arthur Hayes agrees with what I say, apparently, because Arthur Hayes sees the Trump meme coin as a predictor for Bitcoin, polls, and more. And so essentially, he argues in his latest post that Trump's presidential provenance gives him the coin far more utility than a tyrannical financial contrivance, whatever that means. He said, in this case, he sees multiple functions: a predictor of Bitcoin's price movement, a tool for campaign fundraising, and a replacement for traditional polling, among other possibilities. And that's true. And that kind of lets us know kind of where the market could potentially go. Remember, everybody's trying to look for a narrative this cycle, which there is none. There is no narrative this cycle. Previous cycle, it was Solana summer. It was DeFi summer. It was smart contracts. It was gaming. It was metaverse. All of these, there were narratives during the last cycle which allowed the price to kind of move. But this cycle doesn't really have any narrative that I can clearly see, right? We thought it was going to be AI. Nothing really going on with that. Thought it was going to be gaming. Nothing really going on with that. Bitcoin mining companies, they're kind of pivoting a little bit, but nothing is really going on in crypto, right? So the meme coin situation, whether it's the Trump coin, whether it is Dogecoin, whether it is Barstool or Haktua coin, whatever meme coin we're talking about, this could be an indicator. And now everybody in this kind of meme space is looking for another narrative, and GameStop is talking about maybe, buying Bitcoin for their balance sheet, and everybody's, oh my God, this is going to be so bullish. It's like, no, this is just going to be a speculative move to the upside. And if the market moves based on these kind of things, this is when you have to sell into these pumps, at least in my view. And here's another example. This just happened the other day. Argentina's president withdrew support for the Libra token. This was supposed to be like a coin for liberty based in Argentina or something like that, and admits to skipping due diligence. And so essentially, he withdrew support for this meme token after initially endorsing it, said he had no connection to the project. He wrote on X a few hours ago, I posted a tweet, as I have so many other times, supporting a supposed private enterprise with which I obviously have no connection whatsoever. I was not aware of the details of the project after having become aware of it. He said he's decided not to spread the word. That is why he deleted the tweet. Analysis shows that 82% of that token's supply is concentrated among a small number of addresses, suggesting centralized control. So this is just another example. I don't know what the deal with this coin is or was. Honestly, I don't care either way, but it's just part of this whole, everybody's looking for the narrative, including the meme coins. And if they can get support from somebody, they're going to try to do it. But this is also kind of draws us back to the El Salvador situation and conversation. In El Salvador, they are Bitcoin only. They don't believe in other cryptos. And to be honest with you guys, I kind of think that is best, because you can't test these things out on a large scale when there's so many, because then it gets confusing and everybody wants a piece of the pie. Doing Bitcoin only and really focusing on that in this kind of test environment of El Salvador, I think is very, very important. And Argentina getting involved in crypto as well, they're probably dealing with the same situation. I remember when El Salvador first announced Bitcoin, almost every single major cryptocurrency, almost every single one, their teams were booking flights to El Salvador. And Max Kaiser came out and said, no. If anybody tries, they're going to be shut down, because Nayib Bukele knows Bitcoin only. That's the only thing we're focusing on here in El Salvador. And it was interesting that when they did that, because basically all of the other teams from other cryptos stopped going to El Salvador. So yeah, the fact that this is happening in Argentina, I mean, how many of the people who bought into this coin were actually from Argentina? I mean, probably almost nobody. But it kind of goes into that narrative of where the meme coins are at, that everybody is looking for a narrative, everybody's looking for a crypto to support, and all the cryptos want to be supported, and all the cryptos want to be part of everything. But at the end of the day, guys, that's chasing a narrative, right? This comes back to nobody's focusing on the fundamentals right now because we're in a bull market. But I think that fundamentals still do matter. And so, like, for instance, when we were talking about Ethereum the other day on this channel and how everybody's saying Ethereum is done, it's over, never going to go back higher. The amount of hate that Ethereum is getting makes me believe that it's going to go much, much higher. Polygon as well. And even after we talked about why I believe these things, people in the comments were like, nope, Ethereum's done. Nope, Polygon is the worst coin in the world. And it's like, okay, so go buy some of these other S coins here, that basically are just chasing the narrative. Again, nobody knows which coins are going to do well and which ones are not going to do well. So I'm not saying that the coins we're talking about are going to or not going to do well. I don't know. This is the same thing we talk about in the stocks as well. I'm not holding XRP, I'm not holding Solana, and these two are two of the better performing coins over the last year or two. And does that mean that I made an error? No, it just means that my coins or the investments that I've made may not have moved that much, right? But again, if you're well diversified, the ones that do move, you sell, wait for the other ones to kind of move, and then you sell, but you're not going to win every single trade regardless, right? Even in a bull market. And so, yeah, they basically said that that coin that was promoted, the team was cashing out. They already made $87 million by removing USDC and Solana from liquidity pools. So it was basically close, if not a pump and dump. So yeah, but the other thing is I would not be like just buying cryptocurrencies because somebody tweets about it. That doesn't really make that much sense. Moving right along, Ethereum Foundation injects nearly $120 million worth of Ether into the DeFi lending protocols. This kind of ties into what we were just talking about with the Trump team, right? And World Liberty Finance. They're pumping money into Ethereum and Ethereum-based protocols for in the financial world. Ondo Finance, Aave, Ethereum, Wrap Bitcoin. These are all part of the lending borrowing stuff. So why is Ethereum Foundation putting so much? When Ethereum Foundation sells, top is hit, right? When Ethereum Foundation is investing, this is an indicator. Indicator of what? I don't know. Why would they be investing in lending protocols if they don't think that these lending protocols are going to be part of the future of finance, especially in the world of digital finance? They transferred a portion of their Ether holdings into decentralized finance protocols, specifically Aave and Spark. And again, we just talked about Aave. It's getting a lot of investment from the World Liberty Finance team, which is interesting. From the multi-signature wallet at the Ethereum Foundation, they moved 30,800 Ether into Aave, the largest DeFi lending platform. And again, remember what I told you guys. Aave has already done about a 5x, I think it was, from $80 to $250 just a few within the last few months. You can see here in July of 24, the price was $78, and now it's $250, and it peaked around $379. So 379 divided by 79. Let's see that. 79 divided by 379. So I did that backwards. 379 divided by 79. It basically went up 5x, right? So very in line with some of the other coins that we just talked about, like XRP, that's just gone up 5x. Again, halfway through the bull run, that's where we're at. So something to keep in mind as well, we're trying to put all the pieces together and figure out which assets are the best ones to be in, which ones are getting all of this money to build and grow their ecosystems, not which ones are chasing the narratives, right? Hedge fund giant Millennium discloses $2.6 billion in Bitcoin ETFs and $182 million in Ethereum ETFs. What does this tell us? This tells us that they've been investing. They're still buying, even though we're at $100,000. So, what are they seeing? They're seeing, right, these hedge funds, the large money. They're seeing where this digital financial world is moving towards, and whether they're investing now, they're not probably going to be selling in the next 2 years. These large quantities of money. They're looking at much longer term, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years, because what they do is they're thinking about like what's next after that, what's next after that, and they see what Michael Saylor's doing. They see what El Salvador is doing by buying on a regular basis all of this Bitcoin, and a lot of other companies are doing it as well. Remember, I just spoke about this the other day in my video. I said there could be other countries and rich people around the world and companies that are not in the US that don't have to disclose this information, that are buying large quantities of cryptocurrency. And then when the market goes higher, they can sell it. And it's not like MicroStrategy. Every time they buy or sell, they have to disclose it. If you're in another country, you don't have to do that. Well, a day after that video came out, Abu Dhabi's wealth fund invests $437 million in Bitcoin, right? So Abu Dhabi's um, Mubadala investment company bought $436 million worth of BlackRock's IBIT ETF in quarter 4. It says 2023. I'm guessing they mean 2024 because um, the ETF wasn't even out at that point. The move aligns with BlackRock's expansion into Abu Dhabi, where the asset manager secured a commercial license last November. And so that's pretty big, right? But if we go a little bit further, based on that news, right? Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund bought 436 million. CZ, the founder of Binance, wrote on X, this report is just from one of the sovereign wealth funds in Abu Dhabi. There are a few other sovereign wealth funds in Abu Dhabi. And basically, what he's alluding to is the fact that they're all buying. And this is just the beginning, right? $500 million at a time going into these assets. This is going to drive the market cap overall for all the cryptos much higher, but especially for Bitcoin and Ethereum, these major ones, much higher. Because remember, a lot of people are calling for Bitcoin to be on par with gold in terms of market cap. Whether we're going to get there or not, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine we will much faster than gold is going to outpace Bitcoin. Okay, we're going to see Bitcoin outpace every market. This is just how kind of the the networking effect of this ecosystem and this currency and this commodity and this way to live is going to change forever. I mean, Coinbase just brought back lending, where you can use your Bitcoin as collateral to lend money. I mean, to borrow money. So, for instance, if you have $1 million home and you want to take a home equity line of credit out against it, you can, right? They maybe, let's say it's a $1 million home, it's paid off, let's just say, and you want $500,000, right? You take a home equity line of credit out, you have a mortgage now, and they give you $500,000, right? But think about it. Owning a home is expensive. You still have to pay for insurance. You have to pay for upkeep. You have to pay property taxes and all of this other overhead. And this is why I say this whole idea that owning a home is the best investment in the world, I disagree wholeheartedly with that. I don't think it's the best investment, especially for many people, because of that overhead. Now, people are going to say, but if you rent, you pay more. Yeah, but you don't have to worry about anything else. You could just literally pick up and move if you want to, and you don't have any of the other overhead. And you can take the money that you would be spending on all of that overhead and reinvest it in an asset like Bitcoin, for instance, which has no overhead. I mean, there's some overhead to it, especially if you are custodying. There is overhead, but almost no overhead. I mean, you could sell custody and there's no overhead. Now, there's risk. Obviously, there is risk involved here, but there's no overhead. You're not paying property taxes on it. And then if you can borrow money against your Bitcoin, think about it. Let's say you have one Bitcoin and Bitcoin does get to $1 million. You can use your Bitcoin as collateral, take out that $500 million loan, and you're just paying back. And there's no tax implications there for that. So it is something to think about as we kind of move forward. And this is, again, what XRP is trying to do by becoming the money of the world. And so Abu Dhabi getting involved, and CZ saying there's other sovereign wealth funds. Well, they are probably investing as well. And you can see that the market cap is only $117 billion for all the Bitcoin ETFs that are in existence right now, which is just under 10% of the overall market cap of Bitcoin. And by the way, don't forget to hit subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Helps out the video, lets me know you guys enjoy this content, and let me know what other kind of videos you want me to put on this channel. Now, moving on to Yield Max. So last year, before we kind of took the break from the channel, we talked extensively about Yield Max ETFs. This is a very interesting product. Essentially, they have covered call, or I should say covered option strategies, where they sell and sometimes buy options, but they sell options that are covered on the market. And basically, the income that they make from selling calls and puts on the market, they distribute on a monthly basis, or some of these are weekly, to their shareholders. So if we just look at MicroStrategy, which has been around for about a year, MSTY, you can see here that, I mean, this past distribution was $2. January was $2.27. Month before that, it was $3.08. Month before that, it was $4.42. And this is per share. And this is per month. Okay. So it does seem very high. I mean, most of these are between like 6 and 8%. So you're getting about 6 and 8% per month. But here's the issue. And it is a fairly big issue, is that these have NAV erosion. Essentially, what NAV erosion is, NAV is net asset value. It's basically assets under management. And so if you were to liquidate a share of this ETF, what would be underlying, right? Whether it's crypto or the stocks, like how much actual assets do you have there? And so what happens is there is a lot of NAV erosion. So you can see here pretty much every single time this ETF went down a significant drop, it was right at when they were going to pay the dividend, the monthly dividend, because the dividend comes out of the assets under management, which is part of the NAV. And so let's say they're giving 7% dividend in a month, that 7% is coming out of the NAV. So for instance, if let's say MicroStrategy the premiums go higher, and so them selling, Yield Max selling these options onto the market yield more money. So as they're making money through the month, the price of the actual ETF will probably go up, because the assets under management are going up, because the amount of money that they're making on their strategy is doing well. But it's going up, and going up at whatever rate it's going up. At some point, they're going to pay that dividend, and that dividend is going, if they're giving 7% dividend in a month, ideally, if the numbers match up and the price of MicroStrategy is typically around the same during that pay period, what you're going to see is a drop of 7% if they're paying 7%. And so if that happens every single month, and you're not in a straight up only market, you have the NAV erosion, where you can see last year, end of March, that was when MicroStrategy was moving very high, all the way through September, it was a 60% decrease in the price of the ETF, which is basically NAV erosion of 57%. So let's say you put in $10,000, it would now be worth basically $4,300. Now, if you do the math, what the dividends paid based on what you were holding over that period of time, that you may have made more in dividends than you lost in overall asset value. But based on what I've seen from some of the ETFs that they've had for a very long time, multiple years, the Tesla one, the Apple one, the Google one, um, it seems like the NAV erosion just continues to get worse as time goes on, especially if the market for that specific asset dwindles, right? If the demand goes down. I mean, you can see here that This started at $1.99 a share in dividends, $1.65, $1.60, $2.13. And in the last year, it hasn't even gone over basically a dollar two or three times. And so if we look at the last payment, this is the Tesla Yield Max ETF. Into January, they got 71 cents, and the stock or the ETF is $12. And if you look at the TSLY, um, that's the Yield Max Tesla stock, pull up the 5-year chart, you can see that since 2022, the ETF went from $43 all the way down to $12, which is a 72% drop over the course of 2 years. Now, keep in mind, if you're making 7% a month, you may actually be getting more in dividends than what you're losing, but it's going to be around the same. And so this is why the longer you hold, and you have to pick the right ones, and some people don't really care. They just look at it as, I'm going to hold this for 5 years, and over the 5 years, I'm going to make my money back and more. And once you de-risk, meaning if they're making 7%, if your specific ETF is making 7% a month, within a year, you're going to have a distribution rate of probably 100%. You can see that TSLY has a distribution rate of 77%. So you're getting 77% over the course of a year, which is very, very high, but you're also losing in your NAV likely. And so that's something to think about in terms of risk profile. But I know a lot of people who seem to be making quite a bit of money using the Yield Max ETFs and kind of staying in them and looking for great opportunities to buy. And that's what these markets are all about. But always remember, guys, crypto, stocks, and all this, as quick as they can go up, they can come down just as quick. I mean, we've seen this happening specifically in cryptos in general over the last few months. And maybe we have more downside. Hopefully, we have more upside before the downside, but downside will always uh, begin after an upside, and upside will always begin after the downside. It's just a matter of timing it. And we don't like timing markets here. So we just have to have, you know, points that we want to enter and points that we want to exit, and stick to those. That way you don't get caught up in all the hype of everything else that's going on. Because as we discussed in today's video, there's a lot of hype around a lot of different coins. But, people are like, oh, the banks are going to start, using crypto. They're going to start allowing you to custody crypto. It's like Fidelity is already doing that. And, price of Ethereum and Litecoin have not really outperformed XRP and Solana. And because XRP is potentially going to get an ETF, and it's becoming money, right? Real money with their stable coin release. Does this mean that the price of XRP is going to shoot up significantly? Maybe, maybe not. We really have to understand more about where the liquidity for the XRP ETFs are coming from, what Ripple plans to do with their escrow, and also kind of what the stable coin is going to be doing. Where is it going to be used? Is the RLUSD stablecoin going to be using the XRP ledger? Are they going to be utilizing the XRP coin? And things like that, because these are ecosystems of businesses, right? It can't just be Ripple as their own coin, right? There's going to be people that want to be engineers within the ecosystem and build things within the XRP ecosystem. And I don't know how much XRP can do smart contracts and all of that, or maybe they're going to tie in. Maybe this is where the stable coin comes into play, where they're going to tie into the other blockchains that can do that on a public blockchain. So you'll have interoperability between XRP and some of the other coins as well. That's definitely a possibility. And so we'll be looking out for that right here on the channel. And if you guys want more, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and let me know what you guys think about everything we discussed today. Other than that, I'll see you when I see you. Crypto on.